There's nobody that has the skill set that we do. My wife wrote the book on how to use guardianship for behavioral health. All those other lawyers that are trying to do it now, they learned from my wife. She's a genius with guardianship. She's got unmatched experience. She's brilliant with it. And so I think that's what makes us different. But, there's a lot of people out there that need help. So I can't help all of them. So I don't have an issue with other lawyers doing it. But the inspiration was really close family members and friends. And so when it comes to the Baker Act, and I'm going to explain that a little bit. So every state has a version of the Baker Act, and even England has, the UK has a version, and it's basically where somebody's experiencing a mental health crisis, and the state steps in and takes custody of them. So we'll pick up the phone. This person's suicidal. I need the police around here right now. We got to get them to a place of safety. So I'd heard of that statute. And then 2 days after I buried my father, I had a family member that was Baker acted. Then COVID came along, and other lawyers started calling us and saying, "Hey, our clients are getting Baker acted. We don't know what to do with. We can't get them out." Right? Then again, nobody had built a law firm handling those kinds of cases. And I said, "Hold on a second. There's got to be a way to do this, right?" And I figured it out. And so I would say that every year we file about 300 cases a year, getting people out of the Baker Act, which is Florida's mental health system. I would say that I'm probably the state's leading expert on the Baker Act at this point. So again, working with families, people get Baker Acted. And sometimes if you use it correctly, it can be a life-saving tool, but you got to know how to use it. So again, it's that real world experience. When it's happened to me, I know what it feels like. I know how to use it, right? And sometimes somebody could be in the criminal justice system, they get out of jail and they get Baker acted. So again, how does the criminal world and the civil world and and the state's role, how does it all work together? How do we use those systems to get the best result? Right? So so again, it's about niching down because it's all really about behavioral health. And so I've been willing to, if I didn't understand how a statute worked, I went online and I read the darn thing. Okay, I see how this works now. Let's figure it out. And I've been willing to try different stuff. And there's a reason they call it the practice of law, Catherine. It's because, like anything, right? If you the more you do it, the better you get at it. So again, my two associates that we hired, both those lawyers came from the government world and working in that arena, understanding how it works. So, I've built the business around everything that we do, right? I'm not hiring people that don't buy into the mission of helping people, but two, understand what we do and don't have the experience. So, it's a constant work in progress. We're constantly tweaking the thing. How do we do it better? How do we help more people? How do we give the clients that we have right now a better experience with us? How do we make it as least stressful as we possibly can? Because going to court and potentially testifying against your adult child is stressful. So I get it. So it's like a child that needs constant nurturing or it goes sideways.
Yeah, well, I think it's wonderful what you're doing, because am I right in saying that there's been a real increase in the number of people with suffering from these sort of issues, and then of course families don't know how to deal with it. They're heartbroken, and so they need support.
I,
Go on.
well, I was going to say, I think the number one crisis that we're going to face